Okay, let's unpack this. We usually kick these deep dives off with a huge headline from a major newspaper, right? Or maybe some big scientific journal.
Right. The big picture.
The big picture, exactly. But today, we are going micro. Like, we're zooming way, way in on something incredibly specific.
Micro is one way to put it. I'd almost say obscure.
Huh, fair enough. We're looking at a blog post, a single entry from a personal website called keyandmeng.org. The post is dated just recently, February 6, 2026. And the title is what really gets you. It's Notes on Fishkeeping, Part 189.
Part 189.
Part 189. And then it says, Why the Spotted King Kong Parrot, SKKP, is my next dream fish.
That number alone, 189, it just stops you in your tracks.
It really does. This isn't someone who just bought a goldfish on a whim. This is an archive. The author, who goes by Ang, he describes himself as an old software plumber.
I love that. Software plumber. It immediately gives you a framework for how he thinks.
It does, right? This is a guy who's, tinkering with free and open source software. He calls it FlawOSS. And then woven right into all this technical stuff on Python and servers, you get these incredibly passionate, detailed notes on fish.
And he's looking at them with that exact same software plumber mindset. He's analyzing them as systems.
That is the perfect way to frame this. Because in this post, Ang, he drops this huge declaration. You can just feel the enthusiasm when he writes this. He says, and I'm quoting here, "If you were to ask me which fish species has truly captured my attention, so much so that I felt an immediate urge to set up a new tank or even a new fish room, it would have to be the Spotted King Kong Parrot."
A whole new fish room. Wow, that's not a small project.
No, that's knocking down walls, running new electrical.
Just for one fish.
Just for this one fish, the SKKP. So our mission today is to figure out, what is this creature? Why is a software engineer so captivated by it? And honestly, what does it take to build a fish like this?
Oh, yeah, because you don't just find these. This isn't nature, this is engineering.
So let's get into Ang's mind. You said his background is the key here.
It's the whole lens, really. I mean, think about what a software plumber does. They connect systems, they look for messy, inefficient code, and they try to refactor it, make it clean.
Right. They hate bugs.
They hate bugs, they hate crashes, they want stability. Now, keep that in your head when we look at the Spotted King Kong Parrot. Ang isn't just seeing a pretty fish, he's seeing a successful compile, a complex lineage that's finally been debugged.
That is a brilliant way to look at biology. So, okay, let's visualize this program. What does the SKKP actually look like?
Ang paints a very vivid picture. He calls it a premium and highly prized specimen. So you need to imagine a fish with this large, robust, kind of oval body.
Robust is a good word. It's not some slender little thing.
No, it's got presence. It has mass. The base color is a vibrant red. But the real feature, the user interface, if you will, is what he calls striking white purling.
Purling. What's that?
It's iridescent white spots. So imagine this deep red canvas just scattered with these glittering white stars. It's very high contrast. It just pops.
So big red and covered in sparkles. Okay, I can see the appeal. It sounds like a total centerpiece fish.
It absolutely is. But I think for Ang, the visual is just the surface level. The real obsession for him comes from knowing what's under the hood. The back-end architecture.
The recipe.
The recipe. And Ang calls the lineage remarkably intricate. And honestly, that's an understatement. If this fish were software, the dependency tree would be an absolute nightmare.
Okay, so let's break it down. You said it's engineering.
So
how do you build one? What's version 1.0?
Right. To get the SKKP, you have to start with the base layer, the operating system, and that is the standard Blood Parrot.
Okay, I've seen those. They're in almost every pet store. Bright orange, kind of round, goofy looking.
Yeah.
Their mouths don't really close all the way.
That's the one. They always look like they're smiling. But here's the catch. Even that base layer, the Blood Parrot, is already a hybrid. It does not exist in the wild.
So we're starting with a man-made fish right out of the gate.
We are. The Blood Parrot is generally accepted to be a mix of the Midas cichlid and the red devil cichlid.
Midas and red devil. Those names don't sound very gentle.
They are not. Amphilophus citronellus and Amphilophus labiatus. These are large, aggressive cichlids from Central America. And then breeders usually mix in a third species, the severum, to get that rounder, stubbier body.
Okay, so layer one is a three-species cocktail. Midas, red devil, severum.
Correct. But if we're looking at this with our software plumber hat on, the standard Blood Parrot has Well, it has bugs.
Bugs.
Glitches. The mouth deformity you mentioned, that's a bug. The spinal curvature that gives it that weird shape can cause swim bladder problems. It's a bit of a spaghetti code fish. It works, but it's not clean.
It's a hack.
It is a hack,
Sure.
exactly. So Aang doesn't want the hack. He wants the upgrade, the patch. Which brings us to layer 2, the King Kong factor.
The King Kong Parrot, I mean, just the name sounds like a power-up.
It is. To get the King Kong version, breeders take that blood parrot hybrid and they cross it back to purebred lines. They refactor the code.
Refactoring. So they're cleaning it up, making it more efficient.
In this case, making it bigger and stronger. They cross the hybrid back with the Midas, or, more often, a Vieja species. Specifically, Vieja millinaris.
I'm just looking that up now. Whoa, the Vieja millinaris is a tank. It looks prehistoric.
It's massive, and by injecting those genetics back into the line, you fix the bugs of the blood parrot, the body gets larger, more robust, the shape becomes this powerful oval instead of a lumpy circle, you get King Kong.
So you've kept the color, but you've given it the engine of a monster truck.
Precisely. You've upgraded the hardware, but we're still missing one piece. The SKKP is the Spotted King Kong Parrot.
Right, none of those fish have white spots. So where does the pearling come from?
That's the final layer, the UI polish. To get those stars on the red background, the lineage is crossed one more time. This time with the Texas cichlid, Herichthys cyanoguttatus.
The Texas cichlid.
Yep.
It's the only cichlid native to the U.S., and it's famous for its blue or white speckles. It looks like a starry night sky.
Okay, let me get this straight. You mix Midas, Red Devil, and Severum to get a blood parrot. Then you mix that with a Vieja to make it a King Kong. And then you mix that with a Texas cichlid to paint the spots on.
That's the recipe. And you have to think about the time involved. This is a multi-generational project. It takes years of selective breeding to stabilize the strain, to make sure the code doesn't crash.
It just really drives home that this isn't nature. This is pure design.
It's absolute design. And Aang even references this. He mentions part 183 of his notes. So he's clearly been tracking Texas cichlid's contribution for a while. He's read the documentation.
It's so fascinating. But there's this conflict he brings up that I found really interesting. He compares the SKKP to the flower horn.
Ah, yes, the flower horn, the other famous hybrid.
The one with the giant lump on its head.
The nuchal hump. Or, in the hobby, they call it the coke. The cock. Right. And some of these, I mean, the hump is bigger than the rest of the fish's head. It's intense.
It's extremely polarizing. And Aang has a very clear opinion here. He prefers the SKKP, and his reasoning goes right back to that software plumber aesthetic.
He says the SKKP has a more balanced silhouette.
And this is the key part. It retains a more natural fish look.
Whoa, hang on, stop right there. We just laid out how this thing is a Frankenstein of 5 different species. How can he possibly call it natural?
Yeah, that's the paradox, isn't it? We could call it, artificial naturalism.
Artificial naturalism. Okay, explain that.
Think of it like UI design. You can have an interface that's totally digital, but it feels intuitive, it feels organic. The flower horn with that giant hump, to Aang, that's bad design. It looks artificial. It's a caricature.
It's feature creep.
It is feature creep, yes. Someone said, let's make the head hump bigger, and they just kept pushing it until it looked ridiculous. It's a website with flashing banners. It screams, I am engineered.
Whereas the SKKP...
The SKKP hides its engineering. It has the classic fish shape. The fins are proportional. The pattern could exist in nature. It looks like something that evolved in a river, even though it was built in a tank.
So he wants the complexity of the code on the inside, but he wants the interface to be clean, elegant.
Elegance is the word. An elegant solution solves a problem without being ugly or overly complex. The SKKP is an elegant hybrid. The flower horn is a brute force hybrid.
That makes perfect sense. He's looking for the refactored version of a hybrid cichlid. He wants the performance without the graphical glitches.
And for a guy with categories on his blog like notes on typesetting and notes on meditation, that desire for balance just, it fits. He wants harmony in his systems.
Okay, so this is the perfect fish for it. It's technically fascinating, it's balanced, it's a clean build. So why isn't it his current fish? Why is it a dream fish?
The deployment phase. This is where we hit real-world constraints.
The budget committee said no.
Something like that. Aang mentions a significant caveat.
The price.
The price. He says a mature adult SKKP retails for about MYR 1,200.
Malaysian ringgit.
Yeah.
So that's hundreds of US dollars, depending on the day, for one fish.
For a single wet pet, that is definitely not an impulse buy. That's an investment.
And it's not just the fish, right? It's like you said, if you buy a server, you need the whole rack.
Exactly. He talked about a new fish room. You need a huge tank, heavy-duty filtration because these guys are messy. You need special lighting to make that purling pop. The infrastructure costs are way more than the fish itself.
It's the total cost of ownership, TCO.
It is. And this brings this really grounding dose of reality to the whole post. He's a dreamer, but he's a pragmatic one. He writes, "I would keep and appreciate them in my dream."
In my dream. There's something really poignant about that line. It feels very human.
It really does. It highlights a huge part of any serious hobby, right? The research phase, the dream phase.
Window shopping.
It's more than that, though. It's intellectual possession. Aang knows the lineage, he knows the craft, he understands it. In a way, he already owns the concept of the SKKP, even if he doesn't have one in his living room.
That's a great point. He's written 189 notes. Clearly, the analysis is a huge part of the fun for him.
And think about it this way. If he just bought the fish, he'd post a photo and appearance. That's it. Story's over. But by not having it, the longing fuels the blog.
Huh. The bug report is more interesting than the final software release.
For a software plumber, a lot of the time, yeah. The problem solving is where the brain gets to play.
So let's recap this whole journey. We started with this blog post from February 2026 by Aang, our software plumber.
We discovered the Spotted King Kong Parrot, this massive red pearly fish that just completely captured his imagination.
We deconstructed its source code, saw how it's built from a blood parrot base, upgraded with Viatia, patched with a Texas cichlid.
And we explored this idea of artificial naturalism, why a fake fish that looks real is to some people better than a fake fish that looks fake.
And then finally, we hit the firewall of reality, the price tag that keeps this fish in the realm of dreams.
It's just this great little snapshot of a subculture. You have technical detail, aesthetic critique, and economic reality all in one blog post.
It really makes you think about what we're actually doing when we keep pets like this.
That's the big takeaway for me. We aren't just observing nature here, we're curating it. We are editing it.
Editing is the perfect word. We're refactoring nature to fit our living rooms.
And the SKKP is this perfect intersection of science, art, and commerce. Someone decided, I want a fish that looks like this. And they spent decades mixing genetics until they got it.
It almost stops being about biology and starts being about design.
It really does. It's biodesign.
So here's a thought I want to leave you with, and it kept popping into my head while we were going through the recipe for this fish.
Go for it.
When we mix and match species like this, taking the aggression from one, the spots from another, the body from a third, to create something that fits a human idea of beauty or balance, are we still keeping pets?
That's the question.
Or are we collecting living art? Is the biology just the canvas? And if that's the case, does the fish exist for itself, or does it exist solely to please our eye?
Does the software exist for the computer or for the user?
Something to think about next time you walk past an aquarium and see a fish that looks just a little too perfect.
Indeed.
Huge thanks to Aang at qianmeng.org for the fascinating notes. We'll be sure to link the blog so you can see the SKKP for yourself.
And thanks to you for listening to this deep dive.
Until next time.
See ya.